Rise and Shine Rwanda, it's Friday the 17th of July.
Coming up on today's weekly review show.
Another worldwide ranking, another great feat for Rwanda's government.
We were in for a spicy treat as we looked at yet another innovative business.
And a profile of an artist who doesn't use brushes to make his masterpieces.
Good morning and welcome to the special Rise and Shine Rwanda Weekly Review Show where we take you back through the best of the week right here on Rise and Shine. It's just gone 7 o'clock in the morning and my name is Makeda Mahadio.
And I'm Regis Isheja, and over the next hour we'll be bringing you a review of this week's top stories, analysis, debates, and insights into the stories making headlines here in Rwanda and across the world. And the Rise and Shine crew have throughout the week been diligently gathering and preparing everything you need to know about what's happening here and around the world. So let's take a look back. Well, it's been a busy week for us here at the Rise and Shine headquarters. One of the most interesting stories that we reported on this week was the World Economic Forum ranking Rwanda as the 7th most efficient government worldwide. The ranking is based on measures including the wastefulness of government spending, burden of regulation, and transparency of policy making. When it comes to efficiency, the government of Rwanda has little to no competition on the continent. Take a look. To the report, Qatar is the country with the most efficient government, with Singapore being a close second. Rwanda's 7th position was secured thanks in large part to the low level of waste in government spending.
Looking at the general trends and looking at the general environment and to do business, Rwanda is an excellent place to do business. If someone wants to do business in a place, they look at the governance, that's number one. They look at stability, macroeconomic and political. They look at all different aspects, but those are the most efficient one. Of course, profitability comes in.
This is not just about how great the government has been managed. It also shows the private sector's success is on par with its public counterpart.
There's a code of conduct for everyone. We are working on that. We've been working on it with the Bankers Association, the Capital Market Authority, the whole industry of financial sector to have a code of conduct, which is the first thing you have to work on if you want to attract investors. People have to know that you have good governance, you have accountability, and you have profitability. So, and if you have the two, the last one comes on its own. So Rwanda is good for business, and it's open for business.
With great leadership, and with Rwanda being the only African country in the report's top 10, one will easily be inclined to celebrate, right? Not really. For Rwandans, it's actually just another accomplishment, and resting on their laurels will not be happening anytime soon.
When we decided to make Rwanda attractive to business, we were thinking big. When we invested in a broadband network that reaches all our 30 districts, we were thinking big.
We have done so well, but we can do even better. So we should not rest, we should not be complacent, we should keep going until we hit the top. But I would say it's not good enough because we were taught since we were kids, you have to excel as Rwandese, it's in our culture. So there is room for improvement. But looking at where we are coming from, we have done very well.
Another great accomplishment. Regis Isheja, Rise and Shine Rwanda. And joining me in studio now is Prince Kaigire, policy analyst at the Rwanda Governance Board. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
All right, so usually if it was another nation, we'd be really celebrating right now, saying we're the only African country on the top 10, in the top 10 of this World Economic Forum. But Rwandans don't do it like that. We don't feel like that's enough. We always want to, aim higher. Would you say we're happy with the position or we want to aim higher?
Thank you, Regis. I think at this moment, Rwanda is it's an achievement that we should be celebrating without forgetting that we are aiming high. If you are 7 at most effective government, then why not the first? It's possible. Going back to 21 years ago, we experienced the most dangerous situation in Rwanda. The whole country was a mess. And now we are in a governance global competition where we rank 7th and 3rd on the continent. It's something that we should celebrate.
Now tell me and all the other Rwandans that are watching us, what gave us that 7th spot on the ranking? Why is Rwanda ranked 7th in the world?
I would say it's mostly the Rwanda leadership that has been really tremendous over this period after the genocide. And second, that's the resilience itself in Rwandan people, where they want to be where they want to go. They have a very effective leadership, and the people are willing to contribute to become the better country.
Now, you guys, as the Rwanda Governance Board, what do you guys do to implement, to make sure that the government is run the right way, that the policies are put in place the right way, especially you, since you're in the policy sector? What are you trying to do to make sure not only do we stay where we are, but we aim higher, we don't go lower?
Oh, thank you. Rwanda Governance Board, what we do, it's a research institution that is basically provide guidance and advices to other public institutions when it comes to governance, good governance, where the public institutions that provide services to the people, the community, citizens, and we advise the best way that they can deliver on the expectations and the people. So we have different approach where we do research, we conduct research in service delivery and public policies, but also we monitor the service delivery in public institutions, and to see the level of participation at a local level, how people participate, take lead, take part in what concerns them, what issues that concern them. That's the most what we do.
Right. You said a bit earlier that 21 years ago, there was a catastrophe in this country, a genocide against the Tutsi. About 1 million people died. Now, when you think about that, and the fact that now not only are we emerging as a powerhouse on the continent, but on top of that, we're the only African continent on this ranking.
Yes.
Does that mean that other African countries are not doing what they're supposed to do, especially since most of them didn't have to go through a genocide? Or is it just Rwanda that's doing a spectacular job altogether?
I think every country is trying to do the best at its own. I would say Rwanda ranks 3rd on the continent. The first is Mauritius, the second is South Africa. Rwanda comes at 3rd position, and the other countries follows. I think every country is trying to do the best they can to take lead. It's a competition, as the report says itself. Rwanda is, as Rwanda, we're doing on our own. We focused on what we can do to be the best. It's like we want to have the better lives. Not really comparing ourselves to others, but we know what we want, the best from ourselves, and we are able. There are facts that show that Rwandan people are able to do it. We are ranking in the best on the continent, but also not only in this global competitiveness report. There are other reports that are coming that show that Rwanda is able, we have the ability to provide. The Rwandan government, Rwanda leadership have the ability to provide at high levels.
And also great spending, because it says that for Rwanda to be number 7 on the worldwide ranking list, it's because the government spends well, whether it's money that's from here or money that's coming from foreign aid. We're spending the right way. Would you say that you guys had something to do with it by implementing some of the things that follow the guidelines, or is it just the government doing a great job?
Well, the government, of course, you have maybe I would say the report actually measures the set of institutions, policies, and the factors that are set to provide a framework for economic prosperity. So I would say that once you have a policies and institution in place, it provides like a way, it makes it easier to perform on the spending, on any other tasks or activities that the government is being involved. Yeah.
Well, Prince Kaigire, it's been an honor to host you on the show. Hopefully you'll be back very soon.
Thank you very much.
Looking forward to getting to the #1 spot.
It's great. It feels like every ranking that's coming out, Rwanda is really ranked high, so I like
Definitely, definitely. #1 after that, I
Right.
hope. All right, now another story that really caught our attention this week was the Ubumunhu Arts Festival. Performances, workshops, and panel discussions. It was a sight to see. The festival, the first ever of its kind in Rwanda, attracted many onlookers this past weekend in Kigali. Inspired and created for the sake of humanity, its aim was to remind every one of us how much of a crucial role art has played in tackling Rwanda's immense post-genocide challenges. Let's take a look back.
Rats! Bye, guys!
Held at the outdoor amphitheater of the Kigali Genocide Memorial Center, the festival aimed at sparking the use of an art in civic dialogue and ensuring the artists can live off their creations. Performers hailed from 13 countries.
You get to express yourself in so many different ways. What words cannot express, arts can, music can. Music is a universal language, and I believe theatre is a universal language as well. In that sense, as a first step, as the first festival of its kind, I think Ubuntu has completely nailed it in that sense.
The festival's slogan is "I am because you are because I am." Organizers hope to make it an annual event that will take place in the last days of the commemoration period of the genocide against the Tutsi.
I've seen what happened elsewhere in other countries which have been in this festival. I've seen cultures, I've seen people, and have known that we are all I am me because you are, and you are because I am. Actions speaks for themselves. We don't need to be told, but we see and we learn.
Art played a crucial role in tackling Rwanda's immense post-genocide challenges. The Ubumuntu Arts Festival hopes to be a bridge over nations and provide a lane where people from different countries can come together, learn from each other, and be empowered to spearhead the healing process in their countries.
To change the minds of people to see, to be a human, because I don't quite think in this generation, this time, there's no, the humanity is not quite there. So I want us to be connected and united.
There are some people who learn the arts from school, from universities, from institutes. There are others who are not that familiar with it. I think as a form of awareness, as a modem of creating awareness, arts is one of the best modes there are. In the world. I think creating awareness is very important in this day and age because especially, okay, talking about my play, it's called Dear Children Sincerely. It's like a message from the older generation to the younger generation. So basically that also is about creating awareness about the past, learning from the past, what can we take for the future, how can we change where we went wrong.
To many more like it. Regis Isheja, Rise and Shine Rwanda. And joining me in studio now is Mark Guamaka from the Umonu Arts Festival. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
All right, now tell us about, first of all, the amount of countries that were represented at the festival and the variety that they brought to the festival.
We had 13 countries, of course, African countries, Asian countries, and North America. And everyone tells stories differently because of their background. And I think that brought in the wealth that actually we're looking for something that has never happened in Rwanda, where we had no one who has seen this before. So we had people from Sri Lanka who decided to work with people from Rwanda. We had people from the United States who brought in ballet in the kind of story they're telling, but also mixed it with Kinyarwanda. We had people from Uganda who told their stories. We had people from Burundi, we had people from Tanzania, we had people from Kenya, people from Lebanon, Egypt, and all these are healthy cultures that were brought in, actually they brought something we never had in Rwanda before, and it was amazing.
Now, us folks in the media know you as the Aegis Trust guy. Tell us about how hosting this, all these guests here in Rwanda, how much it took, and also what they brought to the festival in itself. Because if it was going to be only a Rwandan thing, then I would have been only solely focused on Rwanda. But this was, a worldwide thing. So
on our side as Aegis Trust, first of all, we had the amphitheater, which is there meant, and where we work from at the memorial, it's a place for remembrance. It's a place where people come and commemorate, but it's also a place where people should change from. And that being said, I'm looking at it in the angle that even if it was international, even if it was local, the main aim was, is it humane enough that it will change people? And I think to me, that sums up everything that was happening. We are human together. I am because you are. And I think that brings in the aspect that it's not only me, but it's us in the world. And if I can look at you and I look at myself, I am because you are, and you are because I am. And together, we're human together. So I think how much, I won't say in terms of funds, energy, immense. Lots of people helped so that it could work. But on our side as Aegis, it was an honor to host such an event, a grand event. It's big in itself, but above all, something that brings humanity or brings ubumuntu.
That's what I want to focus on, ubumuntu. If you had taken your family and your friends there, what would you have wanted them to take away from the experience, the two-day experience?
First of all, experiences. When you know that the wrong that happened to you, you're not the only one. There are other people in the world who went through a similar thing. It gives you this thought of knowing, oh, actually there are also other people who suffered. They might not have suffered like Rwanda suffered, but they also suffered. But also there is the healing aspect where, different countries brought in different healing aspects. Rwanda, we had our very own. Sri Lanka, they had their very own. And, telling the stories from the older generation. What did they do? What are we doing? And that in itself is something to take away for anyone. There are moments where I would laugh, but there are moments when we're sad. And all this is something that touches the emotion, but also makes you think critically about who am I as a human being, but what's my role in building humanity.
Now, what was the reaction like from the people there? You said some were crying, others were laughing. You were always on the cusp of one or the other emotion. But what was the reaction like? The people you got to talk to, what did they think? What did they take away from the experience?
I think the first thing was, wow. Some of them had not seen it. I remember talking to one of the people who had come and said, I'm glad, you saved us from lots of concerts. We've had a lot of concerts. Now we wanted something that inspires the mind.
Challenges the mind. Yeah.
It challenges the mind. And that in itself is something to go and say, yes, this has happened. But above all, people learn from experiences. And the more experiences you have, the more you speak to who you are and the more you speak to others. So I think in the 2 days that people came there, mostly myself who was there, one, I got to know what others went through, myself. Two, it was an experience that I could not exchange for anything. I couldn't trade it for the world. Because,
well, go ahead.
Because, it's one thing to, be told something, but it's another thing when the person who went through this thing tells his or her own story. It's totally different. It's not like news.
Right.
It's not like a film. This is, I don't know how I can say it. It's a rich experience
All
that
right.
everyone should actually.
You know I'm not going to let you go without telling me, are we having another of these next year?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's going to be there.
All right. Mark Wamaka, it's a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you.
I love seeing things like this in Kigali. I'm looking forward to so many more.
They should do, I know they're going to do a yearly thing. I wish it was like 3-4 times a year. So we can all attend. It looks good.
We got to build up to that, man.
Right.
You are watching Rise and Shine Rwanda, the review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Here is to traveling and saving. Starting 1st of April to the 1st of June, travel with Rwanda and take advantage of our reduced fares and enjoy our world-class services in great comfort and safety.
Fly our dream to the heart of Africa.
Welcome back to Rise and Shine Rwanda, the review. Now, there were some big business stories in the news this week, from meat processing to ICT. Let's take a look back at the best of the week in business.
Now, as always in the business segment, we feature some of the most innovative business ideas out there. And this week was no different. Fidelis met a young entrepreneur who turned his one-year course into entrepreneurship into a thriving meat processing business. Let's take a look back.
2010, being an entrepreneur was far from Elfie's lifelong dream, where he always thought he'd be a filmmaker or an actor. All this changed after attending an entrepreneurship course in 2011 that set him on a new path in life.
After finishing my entrepreneurship course, that's when I came up with an idea of doing meat processing, because I came like in farming. My hobby when I was a child was just farming, small livestock, pigs, chickens, goats. But then after a while, I say, how can I come up with an idea so that I can do more than farming? That's when meat processing comes.
By starting a meat processing business with emphasis on sausage production, he has been able to reap great benefits from a business that we can say is not very common in Rwanda. Despite his success, Hervé says business is not what it seems like on the outside when you get into it for the first time.
When I had started, it's really extraordinary things, because what we heard about business making and what is on the field, it's really totally different. Everything is a teacher for you. One day comes different from another day. So when I came on the field, I came up from officer working. I was I was in insurance company. I was accountant. So it was really totally different from what I had and how the business you can do business. Yeah.
So for all of you who are wondering, meat processing, eh? What is that like? Here is your answer.
It's a profitable business because everyone like to eat meat. As you know, many people, even Rwandese, we call inyama, it's imbone karimwe. It means it's something you can find once in time in our year, but so because that spirit of like to eat meat, that's when you do business in meat processing, you find a very good business in what you can do. Yeah.
There you have it. So in case you're wondering which business you could start too, here is one that's good for the money and yummy for our tummies. Kangwa Fidelis, Rise and Shine Rwanda. And joining us now in studio is Hervé Tuishime, the Managing Director of Panier Meat Processing. Welcome to the show, Hervé.
Thank you.
Now tell us, you told us you started this business about 2 years ago. So what has the experience been like so far up to date working on this in this business?
For myself as an entrepreneur, from when I started up to date, I get a lot of experience more than before, because when I entered in the business, as I told you before, my skills was just in schools as business management, entrepreneurship, but now I get experience how the business works in Rwanda on the field, especially for the small and medium enterprises, how you can work, how you can achieve your goals as a young entrepreneur on the market. Yeah.
Now, I know the other thing with working with meat is it's very time-bound. There's only so many things that you can do to maximize profits on it. Yeah. So are you able to face some of this challenge and other challenges that you face in this business to become as successful as you are today?
Most of the challenges I faced from when I started, it's to work in the fields where every people you work together, like suppliers, customers, even staffs you work together, they are not understanding each other. They can't follow normal regulations, how they have to be done. That was the first challenges I faced as an entrepreneur. The second, they are just like infrastructures, how, for example, electricity, water, all those are things which, if you don't have enough money or capacity to afford the big promises, you have to face that kind of programs while you're working in the area which is not friendly to the meat processing.
Now, when it comes down to pricing, how are you able to because I mean, prices for everything generally have gone up, but in this particular business, if you try to change your price, then chances are you might lose your market to some other people. So how are you able to price your products, especially in a market where finding the resources, finding the raw meat to work with is also not very easy, especially at the moment in the dry season? Yeah,
it's not, when you're going to change the prices, it depends on the way other customers or other people's into the sector have changed their prices. Because when you're going to change the price, it's not only you can change the price.
Yes.
The price changes generally when you change the price, it's because your suppliers have changed the prices. And also other customers can know that the price have been changed. For myself, when I'm going to change the price, it depends on how I work with my customers, the relationship I have with my customers. They know that my product is very good products. They admire my product. That's first. I ensure the quality is very good one, and I ensure the relationship with my clients, it's very good one. So in that time, I can come and introduce myself to my client. I say, this have changed in this way and this way, so we have to change the product, so that we have to change the price so that I can continue to supplying you the best quality of the products I always supplying you.
Now, the other thing how it is in this business is you need a lot of equipment to produce your products. So are there people, do you actually get investors, are people interested in investing in this business? Because I know it's a risky one. So have you been able to get enough investors? And if not, what do you think can be done to attract more investors into this business?
Yeah, I got some investors who are interested in my business from 2014, when I entered in the It's a BID network. It's a NGO, 11 NGOs, which is supporting entrepreneurs to meet with investors. That's when I started working with most of the 15 investors came to me and visited me and say, now we want to work with you. And most of them now I have one who accepted to work with me. We started some of the actions have been started. We are planning to have 2 machines, which I didn't have before. Now I think from now 2 years coming, our PMP will be...
You'll be places.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah,
well,
will be the good in medium,
Yeah.
so that we can continue to make something great. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, I think what you're doing is very interesting, and I wish you all the best. I'm sure you're going to, do much more in the future.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
A meat processing company.
I'm
like
telling
that.
you. I'm telling you.
Anything. Fifi always gets the best stories out
I
there.
know. And she said it was going to make us hungry.
Right, she was right. You're watching Rise and Shine's weekly review show. Let's take a look back at the week that was in sports.
This week in sports, Arnold delved into local handball, Novak Djokovic winning yet another Wimbledon trophy, and the NBA offseason moves. But what mostly caught our attention was Janvier Hadi's latest feat. You know what? You need to tell us more. You need to tell us more.
Right. Janvier Hadi brushed off the almost tag after finally laying his hands on the Random Culture cycling event last weekend. Let's take a look back.
He had been dubbed the Sprint King champion, and in the tournament prior to this one, Hadi Janvier was starting to be labeled with the Chokers tag as well, after coming into tournaments as one of the favorites, but disappeared into oblivion. But this wasn't the case over the weekend in the 106-kilometer race for culture event from Nyungwe to Nyanza, as the Team Benediction rider came home in 2 hours, 47 minutes and 23 seconds for his first national win of the year. With notable riders Valence Ndaisenga and Adrian Nyonshuti skipping the event, all eyes were on Janvier and his Team Benediction teammate Patrick Biakusenge, with Joseph Biziyaremye expected to challenge the more experienced riders. Hadi broke away with 20 kilometers to go despite Biakusenge coming a minute close to him for what later turned out to be a convincing win for Rwanda's Sprint King.
mu by'ukuri ni amahirwe n'imbaraga burya hari aho umuntu arushoboye gutambika harushoboye kuzamuka mu by'ukuri iyo ugize amahirwe ukagera ahatambika uba ufite amahirwe y'uko ushobora gutsinda wagera ahazamuka uzamuka nawe ufite amahirwe y'uko ushobora gutsinda.
With the All Africa Games and Tour de Rwanda around the corner, Hadi will hope that the win will give him momentum to push for the leaders Jazze in Team Rwanda. Arnold Kwizera, Rise and Shine, Rwanda.
So, Arnold, what's your assertion when it comes to Janvier Hadi? Has he really realized his full potential?
I think it was the right moment for him, because when we looked at the sprint trials that we had, the Rwanda cycling event, the weekend prior to this one, Janvier Hadi came in as the favorite because he is known as the Sprint King. Let's look back to the Tour de Rwanda last year. He won the sprint trials, and the year to that, in 2013, he won the sprint trials again. So it has always been, he is the Asafa Powell of Rwandan cycling.
Yes.
You know,
almost finishes second.
Yes, almost there, but he is never really there. Like, he doesn't show up when it matters.
Right.
So you had young stars like Valence Ndaisenga, you know, like Joseph Alleluia coming in to take over from him. And these are kids who are about 20 years old, 21 years, and he's more of the experienced rider. He's about 27 years old.
Right.
Yeah, and you felt he wasn't using his experience and momentum to go on to make a name for himself. Now, he was representing Team Benediction at the previous cycling event, and everyone expected it to be between his team and Adrian Nyonshuti's team and Valence Ndaisenga. But he finished a disappointing 7th position at that event. Now, was that him choking again? Your guess will be as good as mine. Maybe yes, he was choking. But coming into this event, I think he needed the win. He needs to assert his position, especially now that we have the Tour de Rwanda, we have the African Cycling Championships, we have the All Africa Games coming up, we have the look to the Rio 2016 Olympic Games coming up. He has to assert his being part of Jonathan Boyer's team going into the next championships.
All right, Paul Bitok, his Cairo ambitions, how much do you feel Rwanda can impact the competition?
I think it will all depend on the draw that Rwanda will have. Yeah, the teams are not yet out here. You felt we were lucky to beat Kenya earlier when we hosted the Zone 5 Africa Volleyball Championships.
Right.
We need to step up, but then don't forget, we had 4 players in that starting 6. None of them were supposed to be on the team. So you had people like Adolphe Mutoni injured. You had people like Marshall Kwizera playing as an injured player. So you didn't have the full benefit of the team. But as usual, Rwanda waits the last minute. 2 weeks preparations for this team. Is it good enough? When you look at the teams we're trying to compete with, Egypt, Tunisia, Algeria, these are continental powerhouses, not only in men's volleyball, but in women's volleyball. These are teams that go on to take on the world's best. Now you can see right there in the gym is Eric, and you felt he is one of the players we should look at defensively. Now, Coach Bitok has it in full hands, and you feel with the change in strategy, what the game plan we will have for the Africa Volleyball Championships, and if we're lucky to have a good draw, and try to avoid the Northern African giants early on in the group stages, then, a quarterfinal or semi-final berth shouldn't be far away for Rwanda Volleyball.
All right, now, Novak Djokovic, world number 2, wins his 2nd Wimbledon in a row, wins his 9th Grand Slam title, passes Andre Agassi, even Lendl, the likes of, giants in the tennis, the men's tennis history. When you look at what's to come now, his rivalry with Roger Federer, how far can it go, knowing that there's an Andy Murray over there, there's a Rafa Nadal that hasn't said his last word? Where do you think it's gearing towards?
I think Roger Federer and Novak Djokovic, the perfect example of a perfect rivalry, because when you look at their numbers, these are players who have taken on each other 40 times and each winning 20 times. Now, in the Grand Slam era, in the Grand Slam tournaments, they have been up against each other 7 times, with Novak winning 4. That's after the win, meaning they were tied 3-all before that. But it was a thrilling game, especially the first 2 sets, with the second set even going to a tiebreak that went on until 14-10. That's...
I saw you tweet about the rain too, saying it could help Roger Federer. He's the one that needed it most.
Yeah, because you feel his legs. He's at the end of his career. He's 33 years old, the oldest player to ever play in a Grand Slam final tournament. And with the manner in which he beat Andy Murray, you felt Roger could have given us more. Now, Novak Djokovic is a player I've always thought is a crossbreed of Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal, because he has the energy, but he also has the sublime fashion that Roger comes to show. Now, Roger had a lot of unforced errors. For the record, he had 13 unforced errors, and his serve was broken 4 times in that game.
It seldom happens.
Prior to the tournament, his serve had only been broken once, and that was against Andy Murray earlier. Now, I had watched Novak Djokovic take on the South African Kevin Anderson in the round of the 4th round, and you felt, we didn't know what to expect from Djokovic, but then he brought out his best tennis at the best of times, because Kevin Anderson pushed him to 5 sets, but Roger Federer failed to push him to the 5th set. And I think Roger Federer's legs gave way when it came to that 3rd set, losing 6-4, and then, giving way again in the 4th set, losing 6-3. About your question of will Djokovic go on to maintain, I feel Djokovic still has about 3 or 4 Grand Slams in him, in the next 2 years, because he is still at the right age, 26 years old. With the style of play he has, he doesn't choose a lot of energy, but then he combines it perfectly. Unlike a player like Rafael Nadal,
who's all about physical power.
Who is all about physical power, and you can see it's starting to take its toll on Nadal's style of play. He has a lot of knee injuries. People are calling for him to drop his coach, but I don't think it's the coach. It's that he played too much tennis, because when you look at between 2011 and 2013, Rafael Nadal played in 114 tournaments.
Well, that was going to be my next question. If you think about it, Rafael Nadal has played a lot of tournaments leading up to this Wimbledon and leading up to other tournaments to come. The US Open is up next. But when you think about it, you have the Serena Williams and Maria Sharapova rivalry on the women's side. On the men's side, is it Roger versus Novak, or is it Roger versus Rafa?
I think it's a mixture of those top 4. Andy Murray also still has something to say.
And
you feel like someone like Stanislas Wawrinka, from Switzerland, as Roger Federer. Stanislas Wawrinka, is also a good player, and Nishikori, the Japanese, also still has something to say, because any of these 6 players can beat each other, which shows great depth. It's not the years of where we only had Andre Agassi up against Pete Sampras, you know, for some time.
Oh man, you're bringing up, you know, the real age in me, yes.
Yes, so you feel this tennis era still has some depth. About Roger winning another Grand Slam, I don't know, because he tends to lose when it matters of late. You know, that loss he had against Stanislas Wawrinka in the Australian Open semi-finals, he comes up to lose against Novak Djokovic in the French Open semi-finals when it mattered most. And now he's out losing the final where we tried to give him. I'm a Team Roger Federer fan, so it kind of hard. And
it's kind of hard. He has 17 Grand Slams. He'll be fine.
He is the greatest.
But, and we're thinking, and we're waiting to see what happens in Flushing Meadows. It's not over yet.
The US Open, I don't give him much. That's Djokovic's best.
That's Djokovic's third?
Best stuff.
All right. Well, Arnold, thank you so much.
Thank you, too.
Did you get anything from all that?
Yeah. Favorite segment of the day.
So enlightened. All right. Stay tuned. Newspapers segment up next.
Time now for a review of the week's news headlines. Friday, I'm telling you. Good grief. This week, Edmond Kagire took us through the front pages of this week's main newspaper headlines. Let's take a look back.
Thank you. I've been following this issue of RSSB. It's a very disturbing development, if you ask me. 100 billion invested without consultations with the board. We're talking about contributors' money. It's a very serious concern. The findings of the Auditor General should be really very troubling to the contributors. I think all of us will contribute to RSSB. But beyond that, for me, I think RSSB has a lot to rectify and probably to convince the public that the money is being well managed. Certainly what happened in Park on Friday revealed some of the issues that have been coming up in the media over the past couple of years about how the funds in RSSB are managed. It's a serious issue. I think it's something government should pick interest to try and rectify, because probably contributors are very concerned by what is going on in RSSB.
All right, Edmund. So now, someone that's on everybody's mind or everybody's lips, bars, restaurants, you name it. The lower chamber of our parliament is having a sitting today. Everybody's waiting for that. A special sitting for the constitution review. Now, this is because there's been a lot of petitions out there about 3.7 million Rwandans that want the constitution changed so that President Kagame can run again. What's your take on the whole thing?
On paper, this is a very huge development, considering that whatever the legislators are going to decide will have an impact on the country as a whole. Probably we should be seeing many people taking interest in the developments in Parliament tomorrow. But I understand the decision will not be made tomorrow. Tomorrow they are going to look into the legal basis of the petitions. Do they meet the legal requirements? Are they in order to be submitted to Parliament? After looking at those formalities, probably they will go into discussions which might last 2 or 3 months, or even until the end of the year. I think they might even go to do consultations outside Parliament to verify if indeed these petitions came from the people. But this is a very serious development that probably should be seen as a milestone or a turning point for the country, considering what the MPs are going to decide. What will be decided, I'm not in the shoes of the MPs to predict, but I would say the outcome is really predictable, considering that we're talking about 3.7 million petitions. So this is almost half of the people who vote in this country. I think we have about 6 million people who vote. So I think they have the majority in terms of numbers. So what remains is to assess and see if the petitions they were submitted in the best manner as the law requires, and probably they will decide the way forward from there.
All right, now let's move on to neighboring country of Burundi. The ongoing crisis, we've talked about it when you were here before. Now, I don't know if it's a smear campaign, that's what a lot of people are saying on social media. About 100 suspect rebels have been arrested by the government of Burundi, 30 assault rifles, they have some ammunition that were seized. And they're saying that this is something that has to do with Agathon Rwasa. What's your take on the whole thing?
I've been reading the stories and watched it on TV last night. The stories are coming out, but they try so much to link it to Rwanda. They insist on near Rwanda, near the Rwandan border.
Because it's Muyinga.
So I saw AFP quoted the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and she said that probably it is right for Burundi to try to look for external people to blame for the crisis in the country. But I think for me, my concern is the number of murders and deaths in that country, and it seems no one is bothered anymore. We see statements from the UN, from the US, but no one is taking action. Many people continue to die in this country, about 70 or more now. I mean, we have an average of 10 people dying on a daily basis. This is a crisis. This is a crisis that we are all just sitting back and watching, and we have elections in 2 weeks, I think, from now.
Right. Do you think it has something to do with the fact that the EAC came out with a statement saying that certain things they should postpone certain elections, and then on top of that the Imbonerakure situation where they were asked to be disarmed? Do you think it's a way to deflect the attention?
Certainly, yes, they might come up with a few things to divert the attention of the people, but I think for Burundians, I met a number of them here over the weekend. Theirs is just one issue. News is that they don't want the man to stay in power, and they don't want him to stand again. So whatever is happening is trying to divert attention from the real issue. And I think probably ahead of the elections, we are going to see more people, dying and probably more chaos in the country, which for me, I think the leaders have failed to address, the regional leaders and the international community.
Do you think it's a matter of failing to address it, or they really are not paying attention?
Yeah, I feel like for most people, at least the people I've talked to, they just keep on saying if this was a country like Congo, where there's lots of minerals, all these things.
Yeah, by now,
everything would have been sorted out.
There,
exactly. So do you also believe that's the reason why no one is taking action? Because they feel like there's nothing for them to fight for in Burundi?
I certainly believe Burundi is an obscure country, just like Rwanda was in 1994. People just sit back and wait until the situation is really out of control. When the genocide happened here, people were still saying, is it a genocide or this is just a civil? People are killing each other.
African killing African.
So, at the end of the day, you have a crisis, a bigger crisis, millions of people and thousands, dying. Before we know it, it's very hard to reverse. So, for me, people should have taken, going by the Rwandan lesson, they should have taken some quick measures to address the situation in Burundi by now. We shouldn't be seeing this happening anymore.
All right. Well, Edmund, it's always great to have you on the show.
Thank you very much.
Well, I hope the situation in Burundi gets better, but every time Edmund comes here, I feel smarter.
He's great.
After he leaves.
He's great. He's really great.
Right.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back with a look at this week's lifestyle story.
Here is to traveling and saving. Starting 1st of April to the 1st of June, travel with Rwanda and take advantage of our reduced fares and enjoy our world-class services in great comfort and safety.
Fly our dream to the heart of Africa.
Welcome back to Rise and Shine Rwanda, the review. Now, this had to be one of my favorite reports this week. They are essential for special occasions, they are the perfect romantic gesture or apologetic offering, and they're all around us. I'm talking about nature's paintbrush, flowers. Selecting the right flower for a certain occasion and putting them together is an art, and one man has this skill down to a T. We met longtime florist and flower shop owner, Jean-Marie. Let's take a look. Think of any significant occasion, a wedding, a funeral, an inauguration, a milestone birthday party. One thing you can't miss is flowers, and these play a bigger role than you may think. I went to meet with one of Kigali's finest florists to learn more.
Le niveau monte, ce n'est pas comme il y a 10 ans, 12 ans. Et maintenant, le niveau monte sérieusement parce que beaucoup de Rwandais aiment bien les fleurs, ils aiment bien embellir leur maison, les magasins ou les bureaux, même dans des bureaux, hein, on trouve des fleurs, des bouquets. Souvent, ce sont des surprises. Hein, les gens s'offrent et font livrer des fleurs pour surprendre. Mais souvent, les gens sont très contents.
Jean-Marie's shop, Lily Fleurs, is one of the oldest and well-known in Kigali, having been around since 1995. He is known for having unique flowers and creative arrangements, providing pieces for big establishments such as Hotel de Mille Collines on a weekly basis. With so much success, I had to ask him how he got his start in the business.
Le meilleur, c'est peut-être trop dire. Hein. Disons que je suis fleuriste, c'est tout. Et j'ai beaucoup d'expérience dans ce travail, parce que j'ai commencé il n'y a pas longtemps. Il y a longtemps, justement. Et ça fait à peu près 40 ans que je suis dans ce métier. Et je me plais bien dans les fleurs, ça va. J'ai jamais appris ça. C'était une passion.
It's no doubt that Jean-Marie is an artist at heart. Before we left the shop, we had to ask him what inspires his beautiful pieces that he fashions all himself.
Je crois que c'est inné, hein. C'est venu tout seul comme ça. Et j'aime bien les fleurs. C'est un beau métier, hein. C'est un métier noble.
Well, he certainly does it well. Makeda Mahadio, Rise and Shine Rwanda.
Makeda, I'm really happy that you did a report on this because I feel like Jean-Marie is one of those unique people we have here in the city who really, really takes this. I mean, it's important to him. And he doesn't just sell you flowers. It comes to the fact that he's been doing this for a while, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like he said, he's been doing it for like 40 years. It's one of the oldest shops in Kigali. It's been there since '95. So, I mean, it's definitely, he's great at it. And the reason why I decided to profile him as an artist is because, well, because I consider him to be an artist, but also because so many people know him. You know, you ask someone about a florist and they'll say Jean-Marie's name, you know what I mean? And I think that one of the things that gives him an edge is that he finds these unique flowers, these flowers that you don't normally see everywhere, and I think that's what people definitely like about him.
He says he goes as far as getting them from Musanze.
Yeah, he gets them from Musanze, from Gisenyi. He finds, you know, different places where he knows that he can get those specific flowers, and he also has such a good talent of putting them together. He makes these beautiful bouquets, and people just really love him. If you go into places like Mille Collines, but a lot of other different places, and you see that they always have different flowers, a lot of times it's him, and he's actually doing all of that himself.
What I like the most is when you walk into the shop, he's not like every other place where you actually go and they'll tell you, well, that's a bunch of roses, red roses, you might like them. No, he's going to explain to you why you should get that one. Maybe the person you're trying to buy them for will appreciate this kind because of this and that. I think he's very knowledgeable about this.
Definitely. I mean, he's been doing it for so many years, and I think when you're passionate about something, when you love something, it's definitely, you know, you can advise people on what you don't want to just kind of do it as your job. You take it seriously, and he definitely takes this as, you know, his passion. He talks about, you know, loving it forever. He said he never went to school for it, although there are schools for, you know, being a florist. He never went to school for it. He kind of just always loved it and decided that he was going to take that on and make that his career. But he's also a restaurateur.
Right.
He owns a restaurant as well. So, you know, he's a jack of all trades, but he's great at it.
He's great. In '95, he was called Le Petit Kigali.
Oh.
I remember.
Well,
yeah.
I'm not saying that you're old or anything,
Well,
but...
they know. Thank you so much, Makeda.
Thank you, too.
So who was that you profiled? What's his name?
Oh, sorry. Jean-Marie.
There you go.
Apparently, that's the right way to say it.
That's a great report, Makeda.
Hey, you may be needing a florist soon. I mean, I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying.
Let's just move on to the next thing.
Don't forget, we love to hear your thoughts, comments, and feedback on what we're talking about here on Rise and Shine Rwanda. Tweet us at Rise and Shine RW. We're always looking out for your comments. Like us on Facebook, send us ideas for programs, or tag us in your photos, comment on our status updates. Check out our Rise and Shine Rwanda YouTube page where you can catch all the shows and reports that we upload daily in case you missed one. Follow us on Instagram, Rise and Shine RW. We're always posting behind the scenes photos, or check out our Rise and Shine Rwanda website. Well, that's all the time we have for today, but we love to hear your feedback, so let us know if you have any ideas. You've been watching Rise and Shine Rwanda, the review, with me, Makeda Mahadio.
And me, Regis Isheja, will be here same time, same place on Monday, so do join us then. But for now, from the both of us and the rest of the Rise and Shine team, have a great day and an even better weekend. Goodbye.
Bye.